darling Fumi Nation. How are you? How are we? My name is Fumidesaluvold. For those of you that are stopping by for the very first time, you are so very welcome indeed. We are co-hosting today, as always, on the weekend Sunday with our wonderful Aretha Abimbola. Let us have a round of applause.
Good
Hello, my
morning.
darling Aretha. How are you?
I am wonderful this morning. Thank you very much. I'm great. The sun is shining. I've been for my run and I'm ready to go.
Our darling Aretha, you must follow her on all of her socials. She also has a YouTube channel here. You have to follow her for all kinds of interesting things. I'm going to put the links below. Okay. All right, my darling Aretha, go ahead and take the floor to episode 3, Becoming Brigitte Macron.
Yes. Okay. We take a closer look at President Emmanuel Macron's family and his side of it. Now, first things first, I'm going to say to the people is one thing that we have learnt and we continue to learn in society is that reality is often stranger than fiction. And what do I mean by that? I started thinking about this series and I started thinking, do you know what? The more I looked back and forth at different theories, the more I thought, actually, this is pretty bizarre. But then do you know what I thought about? And I thought, you know what? Sometimes seeds are sown into society. And I thought if anyone would have told me that there was this small influencer, maybe the developer of the selfie, Kim Kardashian, whose mum was married to an athlete, a world-renowned, very decorated athlete, Bruce Jenner, who then years later, I think Bruce Jenner had approximately between 4 and 6 kids. I don't remember exactly how many, who years later then decided he was going to transition and become a woman. And then decided that, oh, actually, you know, I'm going to become a woman. And within 1 year of transitioning was awarded the Woman of the Year. Never mind women that had been doing amazing things for years in advance, decided he was going to become Woman of the Year. So I say all that to say that even though it seems incredibly strange, I think sometimes when we are being introduced to things, I don't think it's a coincidence. I just thought of that similarity and it kind of got me thinking it's not so bizarre in that it actually happened.
Absolutely. Bruce had 4 children. He had
4.
3 boys. Yes, he had 3 boys and 1 girl with his previous relationship. Chris had 3 girls and 1 boy. And together they had Kylie and Kendall. Kylie being the youngest. So
Yes.
they ended up having 6 children each. And even when Chris was dating Bruce, her previous husband, Robert Kardashian, there were rumors then that he dressed up as a woman, that he was a cross-dresser. Robert Kardashian knew that Bruce Jenner was a cross-dresser. He was known to be a cross-dresser. And Bruce Jenner even said that was why he focused in his sports, because he always had that seed in him from when he was a young boy. He took his mother's clothes, and throughout the marriage, Chris always said her things were missing, and she just thought it was one of the girls. She never, to the point that Kendall said she went down one night in the middle of the night, like 2 in the morning, to get a glass of water. And the way the house was laid out, she saw her father come down in the full getup of makeup, high heels, clothes. He did not see her. She saw him. She kept that secret all the years. Everybody knew that he was a cross-dresser. You are absolutely right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Emmanuel Macron, at some point when Emmanuel is in the Senate, so this is early, you know, they're interviewing different people. Someone interviews Emmanuel Macron's brother and he says, no, he's not my brother, he's my cousin. And I'm just like, I mean, okay, that's a pretty wild and interesting statement. I think, okay, brother, cousin, that's not really one that you mix up. And also he's in a good position. If anything, you would want to, you'd be more proud to kind of announce that's your brother. Anyway.
But the thing is that they didn't have a healthy relationship.
Yes,
they were not close. They were not close. I say this because I have nation members who come incognito, and the family dynamic is wild.
I grew up with 4 sisters, okay? Well, I was one of 4, I should say, not 4 sisters, so that one of 4. And we had arguments and we had disagreements and we're all very different in nature. So I understand it. But I can't help but thinking he didn't, if there was a family feud and there's a dispute, it's one thing to say, no, I don't know him. He didn't say that. He wasn't estranged. He said, no, he's my cousin. You know,
Yes.
like that to me suggests something's off, because this doesn't sound like a feuding dynamic. It almost sounds like, well, are you his brother or are you his cousin? Because if you're feuding, you could either just say, I don't want to talk about him, or we're estranged, or say nothing at all.
Yes. But the thing is that we know as fact is the brother.
But why would he? It's just bizarre that he calls him
No,
his cousin.
it's not bizarre to me
You don't think so?
at all. At all. At all. I don't see anything bizarre with what he said. They might be a bit bonkers in their relationship. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with the fact that he had a sister, and again, they were not really close. I don't see anything wrong with the fact that Brigitte Macron's brother was the best man. I say that because my brother was the best man at my wedding.
Yeah, no, that I think is absolutely fine. I do think there's something a bit bizarre about referring to your brother as your cousin, but you know, we'll let that slide. Anyway,
Okay.
you're absolutely right in the fact that that Macron was a bit estranged from his family. He was a bit distant, and so was Brigitte. And like,
To the father or to the mother. Ooh, 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 ooh. Well, why are we surprised? The parents removed him from the love of his life. They
true.
uprooted him. And I don't think they ever, until this very day, have a healthy dynamic with the woman that he eventually married. Because, and this is something that I instantly thought of because of my son, he was robbed of giving them grandchildren. She was a 52-year-old woman where even if she saved her eggs, why wouldn't she have saved her eggs? She had 3 children.
Yes, well, exactly. Well, allegedly.
Allegedly.
But yes, I mean, okay, so he's quite distant from his family, but we hear that he's very affectionate about his grandmother.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, she's pivotal in his upbringing. She taught him to read, taught him to swim. He loved her, and they both shared a love for books.
Yes.
Now, something that comes up again and again that I think, is this a coincidence? And this is what I mean. There's only so many coincidences that we can coincidence away.
Yeah.
So, according to 2 authors, so Caroline Derian and Candice Nedlack, who wrote a book about the Macron, said that he had a love for reading. We already know that he's spoken about one of his favorite authors, of which he has a book of this author in his in one of his presidential offices. Exactly, and we see it in the picture, and it's by Andre Gide, who is a self-admitted PDF. You know, and you just think to yourself, okay, is that a coincidence? It could just be a coincidence. So we'll leave that there.
I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence at all. Again, because I've done episode 3, I will still say this does not shine any light to Brigitte Macron being a man. I'm waiting for the episode. That's why Fumi Nation, we're doing episode by episode, so we don't miss anything. I don't see where it tells me, gives me a red flag, gives me something to pause to say that, you know what, she is a man. All I want to know is, Candace Owens says, Brigitte, you were born a man, you will die a man. I am in episode 3. And I still have not been given any evidence whatsoever to shine on that light. We talk about her husband and that how her husband mysteriously died in 2019. But the husband was a recluse. And she brought pictures of when Brigitte married him, when she was very, very young, extremely young to what she is now. She's in her 70s. She was in her 50s then. We don't know. We do know that he was a recluse. We don't know whether there was shame that was really shrouded him when she left him. It's one thing to leave your husband for another man. It's another thing for you to leave your husband for literally a young boy. I'm sure his ethics and principles were very different. How can you do this? And then you question the daughter and why this and why that. The whole episode for me, of them all, just made me feel as if, why am I watching this?
I understand. You see, I can see what you're saying, because you're right. I think after we discussed episode 2, I went back and I watched episode 3 with a lens of, okay, and I remember thinking, I'm wondering what Auntie Fumi's thinking as she's watching this. That's what I was thinking, I know how I feel about this, but I walked away from the episode saying, no, this is not the episode that's going to do it for you. I think what we have to look at is, and I think what Candice is doing is building a picture, hence the reason it's an 8-part series. Okay. And I will still remain that. I think what she's doing is explaining to us how there is a shroud of secrecy. There's deception. It's a very bizarre. Listen, everyone's family has a level of, you know, weirdness or strangeness, or there's something going on. Nobody's family is perfect, by all means. We've all, you know, and I think most people can attest to that. But what we're seeing here is going that bit further to me, and that's what I think Candice is drawing on. Now, I just want to quickly touch on the fact that Emmanuel Macron's father, Jean-Michel, was a psychiatrist. It doesn't make it any easier that they all seem to have the very same 4 or 5 names, you know, across, you know, maybe it's just a French thing.
His mother was a surgeon.
She was a pediatrician, apparently.
Pediatrician, okay.
Yes, so she's a pediatrician. Now, I just want to say another person, so this is now a side note further on, another person who transitioned called Sylvia comes forward and advises that Francois Macron, his mother, Emmanuel Macron's mother, assisted her in her transition from male to female. So she mentions that. I'm just putting that out there. Once again, I'm talking about all the coincidences, okay? And you think to yourself, now, the reason I think this is important is by the time we get to the end, there are so many theories that are wild. We've seen a picture side by side of Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte Macron's nephew, who have nothing to do with each other, but for some reason look almost like they could be twin brothers.
I saw it. They did not look like. No, they did not look alike. Okay, they did not. I saw them, and I did not think so. I thought she looked like him, not the husband. The laugh line was very much Brigitte. It was not Emmanuel. I saw it instantly, and if you know what, I will go back and take a screenshot and put it here. I did not see it.
I need to, because they looked
saw the entire face. The face here, very much Brigitte, but nothing to do with Emmanuel. No, I didn't see it.
Let me see what the people come out and say, because to me they looked identical.
Fumi Nation, please let us know what you think.
The journalist now, Sylvia Rommel, dedicated most of her learnings to Brigitte, okay? She was one of the ones that dedicated the most. She worked on a second book called He Just Turned 17. That's the translation in French, which obviously, once again. So she then focuses on Brigitte's husband, who's called Andre Louise in a single book. Okay, now I think eventually this is where one of the defamation suits come out, and I think she then looked at it, and because there's so much confusion, she just spun it round, because there is another person in their family called Louis Andre. Okay, and so she said, actually, I think that's Louis Andre. I don't think this is this Andre Louis, and that's where this Louis Andre calls them and says, hang on a minute. He speaks to, I think, one of Brigitte's daughters. She said, listen, call mum. You need to sort this out. Calls the mum. The mum's really apologetic. So when people are saying, why does she have to justify herself to a journalist? Why does she have to? She doesn't. But now this is impacting your family who haven't chosen to be in the spotlight. It sounds like she's even admitting that. So she sounds really quite sorry. She comes back and says, listen, I'll make this right. Tell you what you do. You file a defamation case. He then goes on to file this defamation case, and she says, I'll join you. And then he says, okay, now this is the bit that's really bizarre, because they say, okay, can you please just confirm, and go back to them and say, yes, that is Andre Louis in the picture along with you. She doesn't do that. And this was not Candice, this is before Candice. This is the two French journalists.
Because it didn't start with Candice. It was a blogger and a fortune teller that kind of brought this forward. I 100% agree with you, and agree that something is being hidden. What it is, I don't know. But I want to categorically see the steps leading up to Brigitte being a man. Maybe I'm a little bit ahead of myself, so I'll be a little bit more patient, because you have to bring all of the players into the game so that we can see how one leads to another. We've got another 5 episodes. Let me see. I do find it interesting about her husband. her husband was brought into this, because there wasn't anything that, the husband said. They didn't have pictures of him. There was only one picture of him anyway, where for his funeral, where he was in swimwear. But I have just buried somebody close to me. They were cremated, and it was all of 20 minutes, and she was not on any social media. She was the opposite of me. It was hard to even find anything. We only got these bits and pieces of what her husband gave us, and still that was a no-go area to even publicize. It was so interesting that there were two friends for 40 years, and we were polar opposites that way.
Of course, yeah, of course, and it happens. I mean, me and my husband are very, very, we're opposites, but it's almost like opposites attract. So I completely understand that, and I think even after seeing the Fumi Nation comments last week, where people said I don't have pictures, I can even understand that. What was bizarre about that was around his funeral. His daughter comes out and says there's a big difference between being buried and being cremated, and once. I agree. There's nothing in this episode that suggests Brigitte is a man. All it does is confirm, like you rightly said, something is being hidden. And I think what we are chipping away at is what is being hidden. And I'm hoping, because I can't even remember now, and this is why I want to watch it one by one, that by the time we finish part 8, there's something prominent that comes up. I can't remember what episode it is. And for me, that was the cincher, but I want to wait and see. For me, this episode is once again just unpicking the bizarre nature of this union, both their families, and how shrouded in secrecy it is. And I think for public figures, why do we not have any public information?
Because it's not public information. It's family. It is their own personal life. And that is why I'm doing this series. For I really sat down and I thought about it, and I said, it's so important not to go out and hurt people, not to spin this kind of narrative, and it's not true. It's extremely hurtful. I don't know. I just wanted that to be really clear. Brigitte Macron aside, her children, his family, extended friends, it's a web that they are all going to be affected by a narrative that just might not be true. Is she guilty of marrying a younger man? Yes. Did she know this man as a boy? Yes. Is it my cup of tea? Absolutely not. Am I concerned because I don't care for pedophilia? I have children. I'm a mother of all children, as a matter of fact, not only my son. Absolutely. But I want it to be very clear. If this comes out that it's not true, it's hurtful.
Yes, agreed, 100%. But let me ask you, if
it can't be taken back. It can't be taken back. All these blogs, all these episodes about a woman that you're extremely hurtful.
Agreed. But okay, so what if on the flip side it does come out and we find out it's true? Because you're right, at the moment it is all speculation.
I will eat my hat, and I will personally call Candace, baby. Oh, you did that. Yes, I will. I will salute her, and I will say I didn't see it. I didn't, and I will buy a T-shirt.
You'll buy the T-shirt.
I will buy a T-shirt in full-on support, and I will say, Candace, wow, baby, you did that. Because you see, I'm old enough to be humble enough to call it like it is. You understand? I don't have a dog in this fight. There were so many Fumi Nation sisters and brothers that said there are other topics that we can focus on. And I want Fumi Nation to know that this is the biggest defamation case. I cover everything. I am here every single day. And this has a lot of following. So I do it for those that want to watch it. I want to be fair. And this channel is for all of you. It's not just for one of you. Some of you say, Fumi, why are you doing this? I'm doing it because, as you will see, the numbers are high every single week. So that's why. So I will eat my hat. I will eat my hat with jollof rice. And I will... And I was wrong. I'm just thinking on the other side that, oh, wow, if this is... Oh my God.
I agree with you. I am thinking, God, what if it's not true? You're right. It's incredibly hurtful. They have made a mockery of this woman. It's unfair. I'm
No.
sure it will put an incredible strain on their marriage, on their union. So I do understand it, but I think they are public figures. They are leading the country, and I think if it's true, which I think it is, hence the reason I don't feel that guilty about them, because I
Yeah.
think if it is true. It needs to be exposed, because these are the people leading the country, and it means they have a sinister, it's showing they have a sinister agenda, an ulterior motive. And I just think, lead with honesty. If they were open, if they were honest, listen, we all love and welcome Caitlyn Jenner. We accepted. There's a level of open and transparency, and more importantly, he's not leading the country. These people are. I'm just
100%.
leave it there. Yeah.
I think, yeah, leave it there. So, darlings, that is it for this episode. What do you think? Drop it down in the comments. Don't forget to follow Aretha on all of our social media channels. And we will see you next week. Well, next week, I'm going to be in New York. Yes, for the Juvia's Place Extravaganza, Summer Splash Extravaganza. Sam Fan is going to be there. Davido is going to climb out of his new wedding in Miami. They're on honeymoon, but he will be performing at the event. And the following week, we will be back with episode 4. Okay, episode 4. We'll see what we can do from New York, but I know I'm going to be busy on the day. Thank you, my darlings. Last thoughts, my darling Aretha, before we go?
Thank you very much, everyone, once again. And like Aunt Fumi said, I know this is not for everyone, but I do think, like you said, it's a big case. It's important. Yes. I can't wait to hear what your thoughts are in the comment. And once again, thank you very much for having me back. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you, my darlings. Do not forget to like, to subscribe, and to subscribe to Aretha's channel as well. And we will see you what? We'll see you sooner than later. Mwah. Bye. Bye. Yes, I do. Look, back up. Have you noticed that I refuse to give any of this away? It's always sold out. Always what? It's always sold out. So, guys, what do I think about our slippery lime shampoo? Let me show you something. Let me show you something. And for the benefit of other shampoo products, I covered them. I had to do this test because I needed to prove a point. And I don't want to bring up any other product or brand. But these are other shampoos that I've had. Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to take them out one by one. Let me put my slippery slime here. I'm going to bring it out one by one. And I'm going to pour it out for you to see. Yeah? Look at the consistency. Look at the consistency. Okay, that is one. Look at the consistency of this one. Okay. Look at the consistency of this. Oh God. Look at the consistency of this. Look at the consistency of slippery slime shampoo
by Healthy Hair Studio, created by a trichologist called ENITAN. It's a beast. It won't even. Just look. If you are asking me, Fumi, a slippery lime shampoo, Healthy Hair Studio, created by trichologist ENITAN. Is it FDV approved? It is absolutely FDV approved. It is absolutely FDV approved. Go right ahead and use my discount code Fumi and get you.
The value of the information that we were given. So it's not overwhelming. It was very clearly laid out. It was accessible, even for someone that's not familiar with public relations.
Now I'm leaving, feeling more PR ready. What I thought I knew, I now know more. What I came to do, I've done so much more.
If you are serious about really growing your business or growing your brand, then like this is really this is a must.
And I love the fact that I came away from it feeling and knowing that I now have a clear pathway for the things I want to do next for my business.
I'm literally in awe.
I feel like I can pitch. There's so many platforms that I've wanted to go on, so many podcasts or just things that I thought I can only dream about. But in this retreat and just through the classes and the sessions, I really learned how to actually reach out to those platforms, to those huge platforms.
Know that when it comes to PR, Nina gonna put you together, okay? During our sessions, how she walked us through the playbook and she had us complete tasks. It gave us a sense of clarity.
Nina, you did that. You brought a group of amazing women together and you helped us bond, see our worthiness, and yeah, it was everything I could have dreamed of and more.
Yes, it's really been a unforgettable experience.
This is by far the most impactful few days I've had in a very long time.
Nina, you have no idea how profoundly your journey has impacted my journey.
Don't even think about not signing up.
My name is ENITAN, hair coach. I am UK's first ever hair coach and a trichologist. We are a team of trichologists and hair coaches here in W6 London, and we help those who are desperate and have tried and everything else has failed. We look after those who have chronic scalp concerns, flaky, itchy scalp that's been going on for many years. We help those that have hair loss that has progressed instead of improved, and we help those that just generally want to have a better understanding of better quality hair, length, volume, and reduce that dryness. Visit us by clicking